Frank, I'll start with you. Not very impressive from Chelsea. What'd you think?
Not very impressive, but the most important thing is to go through when you play against a so-called lower team, a smaller team. Barnsley did well. They fought the way they had to. The field reminded me the way we used to play in the FA Cup many years ago, or kind of 2 decades ago. It wasn't a pleasant game to watch, but for Chelsea the main thing is to go through, and they did. Because of Abraham, 1-0, enough, you go home and you think about the quarterfinal. That's the only thing we can say.
Shaka, what was worse, Chelsea through the first hour of the match or the pitch?
Listen, the pitch is kind of par for the course from back in our day. That was a decent pitch. But listen, I understand the issues that a pitch like that today might raise. And similarly, Barnsley just made it difficult for Chelsea. They were predictable. I didn't see them scoring other than a Kepa mistake. Chelsea got the job done. That's the only important thing here.
Interesting. Robbo, what did you think of the match? There were plenty of chances for Barnsley, I thought. Shaka watched a different game?
Well, a couple of chances, but Chelsea made it really difficult for themselves. Everybody was talking about Barnsley. Everyone had done their homework on Barnsley, that they were going to press high up the field. They were going to make it difficult. They were going to put their front players and stop Chelsea playing out from the back. So what did Chelsea try and do? Play out from the back on a bobbly pitch, kept on giving it away in midfield, and they made it difficult for themselves. It was crying out for big diagonal balls to be played from the centre halves out into the wide areas when the wing-backs were playing. I thought Tuchel made the right decision at half-time to change the system so they got more space for their full-backs to play balls forward. But Barnsley were holding such a high line, pressing so high up the field. It had to be the case that Chelsea went in behind them, and they didn't do that until it was too late. But they just about got it done.
Bravo, it's 4 straight wins now for Chelsea under Tuchel. Can you see some signs of progress?
Not today, I couldn't, but in the league games there have been a slight improvement. I think he knows what he wants from his team. He's played with a back three for those 3 league games. I think he knows exactly what he wants in midfield. His wing backs have been high up the field as well. The only area where he sort of changed it is whether he's played with a main striker and 2 slightly in behind him, or 2 strikers and 1 in behind. But you can see what he's trying to do. I think the players know exactly what he's trying to do. He changed the system, or he changed the players today, almost all 11 of them. So it was always going to be difficult, but I can see a system coming into play. I think the players understand that system, and I think Chelsea will get better.
Frank, what do you think of Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel? This match actually felt a lot like the first game that we saw under Tuchel against Wolves. Lots of possession. In fact, I think they had 70% possession in the first half, but over the first 45 minutes, Barnsley actually had the 2 best chances.
Yeah, you're right, Sebi. Well, it's not that I see improvements and big improvements. I just see Chelsea being still very solid at the back. Even if Barnsley had some chances, we can feel that they're strong and they're very well positioned and they know what to do. But it's mainly offensively. I think Tuchel said during a press conference that he wanted more chances. And we didn't see that today. Again, I think Barnsley had more chances than Chelsea overall, but we saw something different with Abraham, at the top of the attack and being maybe the man of the match. Well, on the bumbling pitch like that today, it's hard to judge some players. Ziyech was completely all over the place. Pulisic wasn't there. I think those players don't know how to play in those kind of field like we used to, and it was, as Shaka said, a normal field. But those players weren't there, and because of the players in the middle of the park, and also Reece James on the second half coming in, Chelsea had the possibility to score a goal and to win that game. But still lots of work to do, maybe in terms of confidence at front, of creating chances, going more forward, more vertically, and those works have to be done very quickly if Chelsea wants to catch something good before the end of the season.
Robbo, what do you think of some of the names that Frank mentions there? Ziyech, Pulisic, Abraham, Kante, we can even throw in there as well. Kepa obviously got the start. These are guys that haven't been starting necessarily under Tuchel, so you could look at today as an audition. Did any of them impress?
Well, I think Tuchel said before the game that they shouldn't have to try too hard. He's been impressed with them in training, but he hasn't picked them so far. But it was always going to be difficult for those players with the way they were trying to play out from the back and then playing into midfield. And Ziyech was playing slightly deeper infield. He kept on getting caught on the ball. I think it was hard for Pulisic as well. I think Tammy Abraham did himself some favours because he eventually did start to make some runs in behind. Kante, I would always say I'd pick him every time. He hasn't played as well this season, but he'd always be my holding midfield player. So whether he played well or not today, he'd get in my team. And Kepa did what he had to do. He made a couple of decent saves. He also didn't come for a couple of balls, and when he should have punched it, he made a bit of a mess of it. But in the main, it was very difficult to judge these players.
Shaka, what did you make of Kepa's performance?
Made a couple of decent saves, yes, but certainly in the second half, I thought there were a couple of crosses that he came for and didn't cover himself in an awful amount of glory. Just looked nervy yet again. But you get a clean sheet. I think we kind of know where we are with Kepa, and though Tuchel is saying everybody's starting on a clean slate with him. When your confidence is shot as Kepa's quite clearly is, that doesn't really hold a whole lot of value to you. A couple of mistakes, you start to question yourself, and I think that's what you saw with Kepa as the game wore on.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.